Thank you for reading, Al. As I was preparing this message this week, I was thinking, wondering if any of you, like me, ever feel like you have areas in your life that don't seem to be satisfied no matter how much you feed them. They have an appetite. I just read this news that I found a little bit scary, not quite terrifying, but a little bit scary. Scientists have discovered the most massive black hole. And I'll tell you why I find that scary, because this means that it can suck things in. I've always been afraid of black holes. I don't know why. Too much science fiction as a kid. This black hole has a mass merely of 36 billion suns. It's kind of big. You get that? 36 billion? No one gasped. This is where you go, 36 billion? Are you kidding me? That's a lot of suns. So a black hole is this region of space where everything is condensed and it gets this gravity, and it's so strong that nothing escapes. Even light is sucked into a black hole. And anything that gets too close is pulled in. Rays, planets, spaceships, cookies, whatever is floating out there. And the terrifying thing is that the more they get, the bigger they get. The more a black hole is fed, the bigger its appetite gets, and the stronger the pull gets. Do you know that? It's like really terrifying. You feed a black hole a cookie, it wants 2 cookies. It just needs more all the time. Like a giant cosmic cookie monster. These black holes have never-ending appetites, and the more they feed, the more they need to be fed. I think we all have areas in our lives that are areas of brokenness and hurt that make us feel trapped, because when we feed them, they seem to grow, and nothing seems to help. In Luke 12, Jesus tells a parable about a man with an endless appetite. The more he gets, the more he needs. So Jesus had this huge crowd around him. And of course, the Pharisees and the teachers of the law are there, and they're looking for mistakes in what he's saying to feed their endless appetite of self-righteousness. They can't get enough of that. They love mistakes. Gobble them up like cookies. I have a fixation with cookies. Just gives them a chance to elevate themselves, right? To feed their needs of being in power. So he's teaching, and this man calls out as he's teaching. In this big crowd, there's thousands of people, and there's always one in the crowd, right, that wants to banter. Calls out, "Hey, teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me." There's a nervous chuckle. People kind of laugh a little bit as they hear this man say this. It's kind of like, the guy at a conference or a comedy show or something that calls out. There's always one, "Hey, tell my boss that I'm the best and give me a raise." Everyone kind of laughs nervously. All that sort of stuff, Crowd laughs a bit. They're a bit nervous about it. It's a bit off. But Jesus didn't take the bait. And then he says something key to unlock this whole parable. He says this, "Watch out, be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Life does not consist of an abundance of possessions." It's advice for all those listening at that time. And the laughs kind of die down because they see where this is going. He nailed it. This guy had a motive. The guy's now embarrassed. I don't know if you've ever said something you shouldn't, maybe in front of a crowd. I haven't. But I know that I've heard people kind of go red-faced with regret and embarrassment when that happens. I imagine he's kind of wishing he hadn't said anything. The people that do stuff like that. Be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Be on your guard. Why? Because greed is sneaky. You don't need to be on your guard for something that's not sneaky. Greed is actually really sneaky. It's not the kind of thing we admit to ourselves or others. Just give me some space. I'm just going to act greedy for a while. I just want to manifest a bunch of greed in my life and take things away from you guys. Is that okay? Just a heads up. I'm going to be greedy. It's usually because we feel entitled to get what we want, to have our desires met, because the world is my oyster. It belongs to me. I deserve it. It's my turn. This is for me. I need just one more travel mug. And it needs to be a Stanley. That's my forever mug. I just need it. Sorry, I'm not judging anyone. Truly, I'm not, because I have a nice travel mug. Be on guard, because greed is tricky. So he tells a parable about how greed comes in all these forms. There's a rich man with lots of property, it's valuable property, and this is how they used to measure wealth. When you had a lot of property, you were a rich, rich person. This is a landholder. Everybody in town knows his last name. He's got streets named after him. He's the Harvey in Kelowna, right? People know this guy. People work on his farm. He's tied to the local economy. He's an important guy. So this man has a particularly good year. It's a great crop. It's like an amazing harvest. So good. There's not enough room to store all the stuff he's got. Like, the grain is overflowing. It doesn't fit in the barns. So he has a problem. He has nowhere to store all of his wheat and grain and stuff. So he makes a decision. He decides to build bigger barns and storage units. I mean, what else is a farmer to do? That seems kind of reasonable to me. He needs more room after all. Where is he supposed to put his grain? I mean, at first, I don't really know if there's a problem here. What is wrong with this? I mean, I think he's exactly the type of guy people seem to admire in today's society. Exactly the type of guy. The self-made millionaire. You know, if you can follow these 7 steps, you too can be a millionaire. Here's a book you should read. Maybe like The Bitcoin King, right? Selling fake money to real people for fake returns. And he's now like, you know, the person we want to give a spot on the Dragon's Den. This is a guy that makes money. I mean, this is exactly what Joseph told Pharaoh to do, because God told him to build bigger barns and store grain up. What's wrong with this? It seems like the right thing to do. Seems wise. Don't you want to be like an ant, not a sluggard? I don't know. Proverbs says stuff like that. He sounds like he's doing very well and following the Proverbs. He's just wiser than most people. After all, Proverbs 3:9-10. If you honor the Lord, your barns will overflow. Now, this guy should be nominated for the church board. Greed, at first, it can sound like the right thing to do. It starts with needing one more cookie. Okay, sorry, I'll stop with the cookies. Yet, there's something not quite right here below the surface, and I think it's intentional that we have to dig a bit because it matches the way greed is. Greed is something that's below the surface. We need to strain a bit to see it, because the desire for more is always justified. There's always a reason. So the first thing to notice, this guy is very rich. We did notice that. But he's so rich he can afford to build new barns without selling his grain. That's a hint that this guy's like really, really rich. When you don't have to sell your grain to build new barns, you're rolling in it. And there's something else that not all translations capture. It did capture it today when we read it, but it's this. He says in verse 18, I know I'll tear down my barns and build bigger ones. Then I'll have enough room to store my wheat and other goods. Oh, other goods, not just wheat. What are these goods? So he goes on this barn building program, not just for his grain, but for all his stuff. He needs storage units for all his trinkets, all his Stanley travel mugs. He's got so many things, he doesn't have enough room to store his stuff. And this is all in the context of a subsistence culture where they live year to year and people rely on these crops to make their living. And he's storing it up, holding back the harvest. And this hurts the local economy because people need this grain. He's perpetuating poverty. All these things are just percolating below the surface here. Oh, also one more thing. He's a bit of a fool because what farmer doesn't know he's going to have a good harvest until the harvest comes in, right? I feel like even I would be able to see lots of apples on the trees. I don't know. It's kind of a fool. But the biggest thing is not what he says or considers, is what he doesn't say or consider. He doesn't consider others or God. It's all about him. There's no mention of God's desires in this. He just needs more because somewhere inside this rich man, he's poor. He's such a deep need, he can't fill it. It's a black hole of brokenness and dysfunction. So this rich man with this selfish desire for more is actually poor. It's the irony of this, because he always wants more. The parable ends with an insight. His time has come. Surprise, surprise. We know, we hear this from the narrator. His time has come. He's going to die that very night. And Jesus concludes this parable with this note in verse 21. This is how it will be with whoever stores up things for themselves, but is not rich towards God. A selfish desire for more is actually a sign that inside you are poor. Greed is a word that we hear a lot. We talk about it as this need to accumulate things and how it always leaves us wanting more, a never-ending cycle. But greed is actually like a big black hole, because when you feed it, it needs to be fed more. It just grows. The more you feed it, the hungrier it gets. In the Bible, the greed is a desire to have more. Even when you already have enough. That's what greed is. And here's the thing. It's not just stuff. That's the sneaky part. When we limit it to stuff, we miss the message. It's not just stuff. It can be applied to anything. It is a never satisfied hunger motivated by brokenness. And trying to fill something up that you can't. Taking more than your fair share of something. And taking things in a way that hurts yourself and others. Sometimes it's hard to detect. It likes to go in disguise. Greed loves it when people think it's obvious and blatant. Greed loves it when we create these tropes about what greed is. Greed is cheating people to get rich. Greed is loading a Costco cart full of toilet paper. Greed, one more cookie thing. Greed is eating 7 cookies instead of 2 because I deserve it. I baked all those cookies myself. True story. It's sneaky. It likes to hide. And it doesn't want to be discovered. Greed loves the idea of plausible deniability. This is an interesting thing, right? Denying responsibility for wrongdoing because it can't be proved. It excels in this area. Putting up a smoke screen of reasons that are just enough to blur the real reason for the action. Reasons that are lies but sound like good solid truth. It's the art of looking innocent while staying guilty. Plausible deniability. I'm storing up grain just like Joseph did. I'm a godly man. Greed is sneaky. So no, it's not just the rich who are greedy. And we're invited to see something, to discover something. In the areas of our lives that we are broken, we all have those areas of brokenness, all of us. Those are the areas that we tend to want more. More in ways that is trying to fill something that can never be filled. We feed it and it just wants more. And it grows and the gravity gets stronger. Greed isn't just about money or grain or having too many travel mugs. Greed is desire gone sideways. It's an unhealthy desire for more in areas of our lives where we are broken. And there are two main components to greed that go hand in hand: dissatisfaction and desire. They partner together. The first is dissatisfaction with what you have, whatever it is. Starts there. And the second is a desire for more based on that dissatisfaction, what you think you need to fill that dissatisfaction. Dissatisfaction and desire with greed go hand in hand. And greed is an endless effort to satisfy a need by taking more in a way that leaves other people needing more. Do you know that we all have those black holes in our lives? It's not just the rich people that have this. We all have these black holes in our lives. Because greed manifests in us in ways that we are broken. And none of us are off the hook. Maybe you've just got a tiny little black hole. Just a small one. And maybe it's the size of 36 billion suns. But it looks different in different disguises. Let me give you some examples. I think there's approval greed. I'll tell you what I mean by this. The need to feed our identity and sense of worth by fishing for compliments because we need more of that. Feed me. Bragging to feel important. Feeling crushed if no one notices just how great we really are. It's refreshing Instagram 50 times a day to see if you got likes. No hands going up? I don't even have Instagram. I'm just trying to sound cool. And it's not even cool anymore, probably. There's control greed. The need to feed a sense of security. Steering people or situations for your own sense of security, not theirs. Micromanaging and refusing to share a task because no one else can do it right. It's knowing that the only thing worse than chaos is knowing that someone else has the remote control. That's terrible. Can't handle that. There's status greed. The need to feed our positions and feel better than other people. It's chasing titles, promotions, advancement, recognition, name-dropping experiences, connections. It's comparison. It's one-upping other people. Someone tells you they had a great trip, and you go, that's cute. I've been there 3 times. Hope you had a good time your one time. There are endless ways that we need to feed our brokenness, and we all have it. You ever catch yourself doing things like this? I was at a pastor's conference a little while ago, and a bunch of pastors sitting around a table, and you know what's going to happen. There's a bunch of bantering. Truly, it's true. And I noticed that this good friend of mine, who's also a pastor, because we were all pastors there, we start like this banter and kind of one-upping each other, and they're like friendly little jokes that are kind of like laced with barbs. Do you know what I mean? Kind of like little insults, but they're funny. It's just like it gained momentum, and we kept doing this. And I realized that we were both doing it to each other. For some reason, we needed to do this. And it didn't really feel that good. Later, we had a conversation. I said, did you notice what was going on? He said, did you notice what was going on? I said, yeah, I noticed what was going on. Greed is like a monster. It feeds things like that. And it's sneaky. It comes from brokenness. Greed hurts self and others. There's this thing in this parable, and the man's actions of storing the grain actually hurt others. Those around him, his desire for more, his need for security to store up, it hurt the lives of the people around him that depended on that grain. It took something away from them. And when we act out on our greed, we always take something away from people, whether it's the affirmation they need and we take it for ourselves, the attention they need we take for ourselves, the freedom that they need and we take for ourselves. It's always taking. Greed does this in our lives and in community. It's a thief. It's a thief of joy. It's a thief of our relationships, and it steals things from you and from others. It's taking credit and attention and time and agency and other things away from others. Jesus tells this parable, and he wants them to hear something important. We tend to go through life desiring the wrong things. That's their natural tendency. And the things that we desire will never make us rich. That's the illusion. They'll only make us poor. Satisfaction comes from desiring and pursuing the good things of God. So I want to ask you a question. What are the black holes in your life? The areas of brokenness and hurt that make us feel trapped because we feed them and they just want more, and nothing seems to help. The problem is desire and dissatisfaction, and the solution is loving the right things. I think there are some steps to freedom. One of them is to cultivate a mindfulness or awareness about who you are. And there's a hint to keep in mind. What do you want more of always in your life? Where does your mind go? What are you fixated on? Open your eyes and look. Don't lie to yourself. Tell someone. Ask someone. I think another step we can take is to cultivate gratitude. Develop a heart of thankfulness, because gratitude doesn't compare. Gratitude actually leads to contentment, and you learn about having enough. And I think we can cultivate generosity, giving things away. Learn to give, learn to be generous. If it's praise you crave, give away praise to people. If it's status you crave, give status away. If it's control, give control away. If it's material things, give those things away. If it wants to own you, give it away. So I don't actually know much about black holes. Most of it's from science fiction. But I do know this because I looked it up. I asked an AI. They can go dormant. They can stop growing, but that only happens when they stop feeding. I think the good news is that loving the right things not only stops those black holes in our lives from growing, it actually shrinks them. This is where the physics of spirituality is different than real life. And that comes from loving God and others and loving ourselves enough to do this. And when we love the right things, the strongholds in our lives stop growing and their gravity shrinks. Some say the opposite of greed is contentment, and I think that's true on some levels, but I think really the opposite of greed is love. Because the more you do it, the more you are able to do it. Greed takes and leaves you poor. But when you give away love, you get back more. Love is what closes the black hole and despair in our lives. Love multiplies and greed divides. Love gives to others and gives back more than we put out. This is what I really want you to know today. Freedom is in acknowledging these areas of brokenness in our lives that are like black holes. It's saying, I'm not going to feed that thing anymore. No more cookies for you. And it is loving the good things of God. The more you love, the more you love. That's how you close a black hole. And you can tell that to Stephen Hawkins. Amen.